Hi. Hold on. Hold on. I'm like pre-shuffling stuff here. And I'm supposed to do a card reading because I asked if I'm supposed to share anything or talk with you guys about anything, and then that's what was at the bottom. So I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I guess we're talking about stuff or we're just hanging out. I don't know. I got my tea. I got cards here. I'm supposed to be using some other ones. Hold on a minute. Okay. The time, sorry, I have to move the camera to see the clock. 8:17 p.m. December, what is this? 18th, 2023. Okay, so it's 12/18/2023 and it's 8/18/2023. Interesting. Hold on, I'm being asked to look up 8/18. Some of you are going through something. May you be in a state of wellness, not a state of suffering. I don't like that. Let's see, read the full chapter. That's better. Look at that. When we click the full chapter, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, because Christ Jesus is the law of the Spirit who gives life, has set you free from the law of sin and death. For what the law was powerless to do because it was weakened by the flesh, God did by sending his own Son in the likeness of the sinful flesh to be a sin offering. And so he condemned sin in the flesh in order that the righteous requirement of the law might be fully met in us, who do not live according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. Interesting. So explain to me, in modern day, why so many people ignore that. Like, it's like I'm gonna not sugarcoat this because it's really fucking annoying, to be honest with you. Sorry for the close camera angle. Like, I turn on a video to record this and it's 8:18 and I'm like, okay, let me go look up what that is. And it's that thing, which I was thinking about earlier, like these people, this world, how everybody's still, or was, at least what I've been perceiving from it, paying for sins and karma and stuff. And it's like, they call themselves followers of spirit, but those things were already cleared thousands of years ago. So what are they doing? I don't get it. I don't comprehend. It's like, even to think like, oh my God, there's so much. There's so much I want to say about all this. There's so much. No. I just can't deal with it right now. Because it's just absurd to me. And if I get into it right now, we're going to get into some weird conversation that I don't want to get into. Sorry, I'm trying to like not have the rest of my tiny little humble hovel revealed in so much detail. This whole thing bothers me because it makes his sacrifice from back then pointless appearing. You know, like some of these videos I see online of people planting seeds of self-deletion in people, or other people playing God and telling people when they're going to pass or what they're paying for. It bothers me. Like, it bothers me to see stuff like that. And then the same people are the ones that are using the words for the Holy Spirit and God, Christ. And it's like that they're actively doing the opposite. How can they say that that's what they're doing or who they're following? But whatever, like, it just confuses me. I'm not expecting anybody to think or feel or believe like me. I'm just confused slightly. It's like an illusion, you know, that doesn't make sense, because how can that stuff still be going on when that happened back then to make sure it wouldn't go on anymore? I'm like, why is my hand glowing? Anyway, is there anything else I should be saying about this? I feel like there's people in the collective or the soul group that I'm connected to that have been really under the influence of things they shouldn't be. Beliefs, patterns, behaviors, people. And sorry, I'm looking at the clock on the YouTube live stream and it keeps skipping 5 seconds. It's interesting. There's something that I can't figure out how to word. The message is clear, very clear, but I can't figure out how to word it to you. It's like a knowing inside that I'm attempting to put words into. That's why I keep taking little pauses. I keep seeing or being shown like an anime or a sci-fi movie or something where it's a planet and there's like an army of monsters and an army of not monsters, and they're just fighting like a Lord of the Rings movie battle scene. Like, you can't really even tell who's on what side or what they're doing, but you can feel the chaos in it. You can feel the illusions. And when I'm looking at it and I'm following those illusions back to where they're being cast, it's kind of like in cardinal directions, in different corners, but not the corners, in different angles, but not the angles. It's like a geometric shape I'm seeing. And they're like the yin yang, but the colors aren't stable. Like the black and white isn't stable, the colors aren't stable. And it's all because of some little points on either side. Not those little, the dots. There's other stuff around those dots that I'm seeing. And it's like there's a moment where there's like a different color that comes in between and pauses it all. Now I'm seeing like waves in an ocean, and then something calms the seas. I don't know. I don't know what you guys are going through. I don't know what the heck's going on outside this apartment, like in the world. Because I mean, honestly, I don't look at the news. And I don't go anywhere. But what I've been picking up energetically and from Mother Earth, something ain't right. There's something deep down in the soil, not just like in the heart of the earth or in the consciousness of Gaia or the people. It's something else. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I've used this example before, but it's not really that thing that people talk about. It feels like goo over the tapestry. But it can't be there, so it's like an illusion that it even exists. I don't know how to explain this properly yet. Sorry, I'm feeling into it. And it's, you know, in those scenes when like someone's looking around for something and it's like it keeps hiding somewhere else every time you look for it. A lot of today I've been tuned into the planet and everything around, like the atmosphere around. And it's like the elements themselves seem to be full of discord from people's vibrations. Earlier, I was hearing a bunch of people have conversations where they were complaining, like hearing them in the ethers, like in the vibrations in the wind and everything. They were saying things like how their bodies ache, but very specifically how they're, um, in negative vibratory states due to certain finances or jobs, living conditions, etc. I'm being very general because energetically, I'll explain later. The air has been kind of asking people to speak better words. The waters have been asking people to be cleansed and prayed to be talked to. The water we're drinking, our ancestors drank it. Like, we need to take care of it. The soil, the earth, it's almost like people have been stomping around and ignoring that there's even an earth under their feet. And it's like they're pounding that ignorance into the ground as they walk. And in the fires, it's like people's emotions and actions and thoughts, in a destructive way. And then, when people do something really dumb, like they're arguing, like a boyfriend and girlfriend, they're arguing and arguing, and they're both saying stupid shit to each other to hurt each other. And then when one of them hurts each other, like enough to where the other one, like they can tell they're visibly, offended or something, they're like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean it. Like that, but in the fire element. that people are expressing vibratorily. And I've been seeing this a lot in like energetically on the West Coast and certain parts across the globe, at least what I can perceive of the globe. In certain areas, it's like there's a lot of chaos and I can't make sense of why. But when I look at it from the other side of the tapestry and I look at the threads that are going into there, there's so much confusion being put into each color of each thread as it's being woven. And I don't get it. Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, why would that even be allowed to happen? But then I look back on the other way of it, farther down on the tapestry, because I can only see certain parts. And it's like, oh, that's why that's happening. So the stuff that's happening back there kind of makes sense, but it doesn't make sense while it's happening. I'm like, okay, so there's a point for those illusions. There's a point for the shadow play and the light play and the secrets and all this stuff. Cool, whatever. Okay. But then what about the pointless shit? The ones that people do for self-gratification of greed, envy, jealousy, lust, wrath, spite, like all that shit. Like the crap people had been doing to me for 40 some years. Just so they can get a paycheck. Like there's people who have a job to monitor and harass me. Like these people are on a payroll to do this. And on a grand scale, there's millions across the world and other worlds. The weird shit happens to, like this weird manipulative stuff where certain beings, certain life forms, certain things, it's like they're picked on, they're experimented on, certain planets are harvested for something, certain moons are moved here or there. It's like a whole thing. From the micro of just a garbage truck coming to pick up garbage every morning to an asteroid that's flying through space and pummels another asteroid and prevents it from doing something else. And it's like this entire symphony of stuff that's going on. But then in this little itty bitty pocket of reality on this place like Earth, some people have taken it upon themselves to appoint themselves agents of karma or God, but not in a good way, not in a way where they're like, I don't know, because even if you do too much good, you offset the balance of stuff, and it's like people don't learn from their stupidity. Kind of like those kids who were raised real spoiled and were never scolded. Like they don't grow up respecting each other. But if they were grown up and somebody scolded them and said that, you don't treat people that way, they would have remembered that in their older years, in their teenage years. The mean girl in high school wouldn't have been the mean girl in high school if her parents didn't coddle her so much, but instead actually made her, earn some compliments or something. So it's like the strange, gooey confusion spell or something on humanity that's been so stupid. And it's like I've been looking at it for all these years. I've fallen under it. I've gone through it, in and out of it, sideways, whatever. And still today, I'm like every time I look at it, it's still there. So I can't help but wonder how much of reality in these 2,000 years since we started this, looking at that 8:18 quote from the Bible, how many people have spent 2 millennia trying to undo a confusion thing or a behavior thing or a vibrational thing or a frequency-based thing. You know how you feel when you're drunk compared to how you feel when you're sober? Or how you feel when you're in a playground swinging on a swing compared to how you feel when you're sitting in your work chair working? Different vibrations. If you go to the park, you're going to feel playful. If you go to work, you're going to feel responsible, right? But if you're constantly looking at that one thing, then you're kind of creating that around you, or you're locking yourself into that vibration. So this goes back to the point of people saying terrible things to the air and their bodies when they say how it's, in pain, or they're this is happening or that, and it's so bad. Ooh, well, whatever, cool, okay. But speaking it on top of it already happening is reinforcing it. Whereas if you interrupt it and say you're already healed, I am already healed, over and over, for every time you want to say, you have XYZ, instead of saying that, say, I'm already healed. Thanks. Eventually, just like an aspirin pill, it'll start helping your cells. It's similar to emotions. If you're sitting there constantly feeling one thing and you're like, why can't I feel anything else? Because you're kind of stuck on it. And I've been stuck on certain things for a while, trying to figure out, why do people do this? And I noticed today it's a vibratory thing. Because no matter how elevated I get, no matter how rock bottom I hit, no matter how sideways I go left and right, digging through rabbit holes, there's something constant. Like there's God, obviously, the source field and your core self. But there's something very constant about the universe. If you look for it, you're going to find it. Eventually, somehow. If you keep speaking it, you're going to create it somehow. If you're not specific, it'll be created generally because you're co-creating with source all the time. Somehow. So looking at all these YouTube videos over the years and like being wisdom's little, pinata or whatever the heck I've been all these years, I've noticed how much people have manipulated each other with words, but it's all around a certain frequency bandwidth. Because when I'm not in that playing field, there's so much beauty in the world. Everywhere. Like heaven on earth, it's already here. And it's just a little vibratory click, that way. With these people, most of them, some of them, with their little illusion stuff and I'm going to say this gingerly, because I've been a shaman. I'm technically shamanistic. I'm like the whole magic of the old ways and the ancients and the ancestors and the King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and all that. Sure, great. But that was like 2,000 years ago, 1,000 some years ago, 3,000 years ago for Egypt and stuff. It's like, okay, but now whether I'm in your current timeline or I'm in the other timeline or I'm in apparently 2023, I don't know. There's something different. And it's everywhere in all the timelines. And I think this is part of my job to tell you this because I can go to all these places. Kind of. I don't know how I do it. If you would just stop reinforcing with your words, your emotional reactions, and your behavior, and force your mind to speak words that bring you closer to a reality where your perception of heaven on earth is already here, the one Christ talked about too, 2,000 years ago. If you would just slightly attempt that, for example, your house might be cluttered. Instead of saying, oh, it's so cluttered, I have to declutter it, I have to do this, I have to do that. Sit and feel your space ambiently. What's the word for it? What do you mean? What do you mean feel it? Can you feel the back of your head right now without touching it? Are you aware that there's a behind you? Behind you, not behind me. Like that you have shoulder blades. Are you aware that there's a spinal column in your body? Okay. Are you aware where your bathroom is? Don't look at it. Don't look in the direction. But are you aware of where it is? Like, can you feel it directionally? Remember, you have a torus field, a toric field. It's like a donut around you, like a giant hula hoop. Can you be aware of that stuff behind you? It's a weird feeling, isn't it? There's nothing I'm going to show you about this because it's like it's just that simple. You're being asked to be aware of your space. So when you're decluttering or you're doing something and you have your already, approved checklist of do you love it? Do you need it? Is it junk? Can you upcycle it? What doesn't feel like it should be there? A wall? A door? What about your ceiling? How high is your ceiling? Now, in this space that you're here, you're watching this video, wherever you are, whenever you are, how many people in your life are either mirroring back, reflecting, shining their own light, whatever, a version of reality that you are regretless about? Because there's a big problem I've been seeing, and it's with a lot of people that are involved and surrounded by things that are just no. And those no things are the perpetuators, the echoers, the amplifiers, the messengers, the resonators of things that are frequency locked. So let's say you're at the playground, example from earlier compared to work, and you have this like workplace drama. You're not really going to be thinking about the workplace drama, right? You're going to be too busy looking at the plants, flowers, everybody laughing, having fun, playing. Probably have like a smoothie or a bubble tea or something. I don't know. In that state, if someone came up to you with a deck of tarot cards and said they're going to read to you about your twin flame and tell you about your karmic mother and and the fall of whatever or the end of the world or whatever, would you listen to them? No. But when we sit in front of a computer or a television screen, don't you find it amusing that suddenly there's it's almost like I'm going to use these scientific words for you, okay? I'm going to give you a little Martian lingo. Not that I'm from Mars or anything that I'm aware of. But it's, it's like son of a bitch. It's like a neural something. I can't even say it without saying it. Just be aware Okay. It's like a neural energetic tranquilizer being placed on people through a liquid crystal display powered by electricity, which channels energy. What does that sound like to you? A portal. Scary. Now, some of those portals don't open to good things. Scarier. And if you're being sedated energetically by someone's makeup and appearance and the way they use, wordplay and, just the tricks and the soothing and then the venom and then, when the snake or something sometimes bites, like it tranquilizes the area, it numbs it so you don't feel it. It's kind of like that. Now, it's not everywhere, but it's in a certain bandwidth of frequency. What does that mean? It means that if this is the tapestry, down here, these people, places, and things speak a lot about negative seeds being planted. Think of this as like the root of the tree of life, like the roots deep in the underworld, near the abyss, by the endless waters. Down there, where Gaia technically supposedly is, there's people that plant seeds to keep the light down there. Okay? You don't need to be down there with them. Neither does Gaia. Okay? Wait a minute. The frequency lock is there. Pay attention. So that when you're up there, you're not the dark spot in the light. That's why it's locked down here. So when you finally get that darkness under control, you can go up there. That's why it's so difficult to get out from down here, supposedly. But the answer's always been kindness, compassion, family, truth, peace, beauty, home. It says the towers. Not intended. I was shuffling the deck earlier because I was going to pull some cards with the new deck I made to see if I needed to. I think I just went cross-eyed. The whole thing just flew by my face. Sorry. You'll be all right. 33 minutes, of course. I hope you comprehend this. And I would highly suggest you probably watch this over and listen with your heart, not with your ears. Don't respond with your mind chatter. Please, 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 people, start recognizing your mind is not who you are. Your mind and the chatter in your mind is not who you are. Remember years ago, back around 2017, no, it was 2012. Do I need to tell them this? Let me double, triple verify. Do I need to tell them the whole thing? Dang it! Y'all just give me a minute. I need to have a little drink. It's just tea, buddy. Literally just tea in my little B cup. Mind your business. 2012. Me and the Leo back then went to ayahuasca ceremony, December 21st, 2012. There were 21 people in the group. It was fucking crazy. We drove all the way to a place in Illinois and had a lovely ceremony. They were lovely people. I stayed one night, and after we took the medicine, like for about 45 minutes, that we were just all sitting there, you know, humming, singing, just chilling out, relaxing, and then the shaman opened the ceremony properly, and then, as God is my witness, the room we were in, okay, the shaman, it was beautiful. The place we were in, the shaman was in front of like on. Okay, you know how a church has a where the priest stands in a church and there's a stained glass window behind him, crucifix and stuff. It was kind of like that. Instead of the wall, it was an entire window panel, like, but with separators. So it was like panes of glass, and I don't want to use that word, but it, you know, just like that, but no wall, just a whole bunch of windows, just glass. It was beautiful, and you could see the behind her, the little village we were in Illinois. It was a tiny little like place in a very touristy area. Like the entire town was like a hotel town and like retreats, and it was beautiful. It looked like a little place out of a painting. I don't remember the name. Something with a Lena, Galena, but I think that's a poisonous crystal. I was looking at crystals earlier, so I don't know if that's the name of the place. I was sitting there looking at, like, behind her, the shamaness, and they were drumming and they were doing like talking, and then we started meditating, and then like I remember like the stars that were behind her in the sky started moving, like just one by one, and I'm like, I pulled on my partner's sleeve, and then somebody said, "Don't touch each other during the ceremony, please." And I'm like, oh, okay. And then that's the only thing I remember. Like the stars were moving and then they spiraled. I touched my partner and then they said, "No touching." And I sat, and then there was just, I mean, it was kind of like being in a womb, and I could just hear and feel and sense and everything. And then I saw Mother Earth, like the earth itself in humanoid form, or the essence of the earth, like Gaia, Tiamat, whatever we want to call her, like the mother of mothers, kind of herself, covered in vines and flowers and like nature personified. And she did a really weird thing. And if I'm not certain, I've said this before in a video, so I don't really want to go over it again. But it's like she whispered something and then she winked at me. And it was very reminiscent of things I saw afterwards. But it was like a deja vu in reverse when I saw it. It was like I recognized the symbols, symbology and stuff, but I didn't know what it was. And years later, now at this point, like I've seen so much stuff on the internet that I'm like, oh, those are what those things were. Which makes no sense to me still, like why any of this stuff would be tied together. But again, it's all connected. The day after that ceremony, okay, when we left, we were supposed to stay for a few more days, and I'm like, the universe and the earth themselves told me, like, we don't need this, let's go. It was so strange. It was such a strange experience. Afterwards, like me and Gaia, we were talking in the universe and stuff. When we left, sorry, I'm skipping over some stuff. When we left and we were driving, I could hear the forest. I heard the forest that we were driving through. I'm like, pull over. And he pulled over, and we just stood there, and I stood out of the car, and a bunch of deer, I swear to God, I swear to the Most High, deer showed up. A bunch of them. And I had an apple in my hand that I was eating because I was so hungry. And I sat there feeding deer apples on a tree stump. And I felt like I turned into the tree. And I'm telling you this because the frequency locks and stuff, the things I saw then are making more sense now. So I just heard somebody say, "Why did you leave early?" Because the shaman said something that really bothered me and had me lose respect for her. And I couldn't stay there energetically. My energy wasn't conducive with being around there. Like, because she said something so disrespectful to one of the other people, and I was like, nope, we're out. I'm like, I don't want to be dealing with that energy. She said that they were throwing pearls before swine. And I was like, nope, let's go. Even back then, the message that Gaia and the universe, like she was sharing with me, a lot of them, healing methods, all sorts of things, that I just kind of was like, I already know about this. What about it? Like, what am I supposed to do about this? It didn't make sense. So I've been like dragged through all these lower roots recently, and I'm like, oh, now it makes sense. Okay. Whoops. Because I didn't get it. Like, it was so simple. It was just so beautifully simple. Like, why would this even be a problem among humanity itself? Like, I don't even get it. That's why I think she was like winking at me in the vision and the conversations we were having. It was kind of like, you'll get it. I was like, okay. Okay. I'm attempting to give this to you in a very, not a parable kind of way, just a really simple kind of way. But it's something you guys have already heard so many times before, it's absurd. So I'm going to give you an example of what happened today. In my life today. Nothing. Nothing. I've been here by myself all day. The only time I've spoken or heard a human being speak is my own voice. And a few videos I clicked. Not all of them were card readings. I clicked on one that was a supposed prophetic word, and the woman was talking about to thousands of people how there's some person or energy going to come and take them away. Like, are you kidding me? She was planting seeds of people manifesting the end of their life for themselves. And I was watching it for about 15 minutes, trying to see how they're wording it, how they're getting away with it, how they're kind of manipulating things. And I noticed something in it, like during the video, because from behind the screen, I could see Gaia's face again, doing the winky thing at me. And I was like, oh. And then I felt a sense right here of this like injustice, but planetarily. Like the earth herself was screaming at me that something was taken from her and that parasitic beings were ruining everything she was trying to create, and that they were trying to kill her children and take their place with the gifts she had for her children. And oh my God, it took me hours to get through this feeling. I had to sit there, and it was between like maybe an hour of me just sitting there and talking to that feeling. And I gave it to God. And I'm like, I can't bring peace to that. It's so deep from ancestors and so deep from the regret of what people did. And it goes all the way back to every drop of blood that was shed on the soil and every foul word spoken into the air. And it's like, you know, there's just nothing I can say or do about it. But right when I was done, kind of in that state of like meditating, and I was just crying and I'm releasing that stuff, transmuting it, helping the earth and everything. And I'm like, it was as if, the best way I can describe this to you, it was like the hand of Mother Earth touching my face. And then I noticed that entire other tapestry, and I was like, wait a minute. And that it was around 7 o'clock when I had that wait a minute. And I tested this, and I went to another video, clicked it. I'm like, 5 minutes, and I sat there and I was like just tuning in. Completely different topic, completely different category, completely different everything. And that feeling of that vibration I found deep down in there, of that injustice deep in the earth, it was just gone. That deep, deep pain shared across so many people. I'm going to say this to you, and I'm asking you as a person and as a channeler and whatever else titles I have that I'm unaware of. Listen with your heart. The pain people feel that causes them to hurt each other and themselves with mind, body, and spirit. The underlying pain of it. This will not be the same for everybody, but you have all felt this pain. And if you can put yourself empathically in a situation, mentally, hypothetically, to figure out how this would feel like for someone else, because it happened to the earth, you'll comprehend it. It's okay. Look, pretend what I'm saying is that pain shared across the planet is down there. Okay, up here is all the bubbles and the side effects and the everything else that comes out from that. So whatever you say after what I'm about to say is part of those bubbles, even when you think it's part of something else down here. Okay, you might be right though. There might be other things, obviously, but this one right there is the pain of a mother or father losing their child, and the child screaming back for the mother and father. That pain, that experience in the subconscious of life has caused all that. And it's kept people stuck there because they don't comprehend how to heal it. Because when family is destroyed, you can't heal that pain. That wound is, even the scar, even the remnants of the scar will still remind people of that. So that down there, that's causing all the stuff we see in the world, wherever we are, even in our own personal lives, it goes away or is distracted like a child being played with by a mom or a dad. Because the minute I turned Amazon on and I watched The Legend of Vox Machina, which is hilarious, by the way, everything was fine. Even Henry came up into my lap and sat there and cuddled in my arms. And then I felt Gaia again behind me. And it was like she gave me a kiss on the forehead and she was like, that's how moms do it. You guys are in pain somehow, right? Subconsciously, the human collective, the archons, even with their disconnection from source, the extraterrestrials and some of the zetas who have been doing genetic stuff to like make sure their species survives. the Pleiadians who were like doing back and forth things to increase enlightenment from both sides or whatever they're doing, the Lyrans and their music and their, catching the rats, the archangels and their messages and their swords and their justice, which is sometimes terrifying. Why would all of them do this? And then, okay. Holy Spirit, you better stop me if I'm not supposed to. It's almost like this thing of a woman travailing while giving birth, like whatever that thing was, where it's like there's a woman giving birth and she's in pain, and there's all these people around her protecting her. And then the Kali Yuga, the end of the cycle, right? But since time is kind of an illusion and cycles and patterns and rhythms happen regardless of what we perceive minutes and seconds to be, we can't really be sure if we've been in it, out of it, sideways, or whatever. Because we can't look at each other as examples of if we've progressed or not, because people are still stuck in books written 3,000 years ago or longer. Like, where are we in time? So if you just kind of take a step back with your life and look at your body was that child your mother gave birth to. Your physical body was held by a mother in her arms, hearing her heartbeat and feeling her warmth for at least 2 to 3 years. If you've had a regular, reproductive upbringing. I know some species aren't like that. We're talking about people born and raised on Earth, or what I perceive to be Earth, okay? If you were raised that way, if you had a mother and father, they held you, they loved you, they kissed you, they comforted you, they changed your diapers, they bought you clothes, they provided for you, they fed you, they disciplined you, they taught you, they sometimes didn't teach you, or they taught you by not teaching you. That little kid was slowly but surely, like the moon to the earth, moved away slightly, inch by inch. The earth, like a daughter with her parents, was moved away from her original rotationary place in the solar system. Hence why the moon was moved there, to keep her in balance. That pain, the separation from family, you notice how it goes from Kronos, Tiamat, Gaia, Venus. Like Venus has been bonkers because she's missing something. Gaia has been bonkers because she's been missing something. Saturn and Jupiter, they used to be illuminated. They went bonkers and turned into gaseous planets because of something that they're missing. Pluto is like off in somewhere else. It's like, why? Off in the cold? What's he missing? Who's he sad about? Neptune's raging and doing all illusion and stuff. It's like, what are you so angry about, Neptune? And like, look at them as consciousnesses, right? And then you kind of think about it like a mother. Why would all these beings, especially a mother, father, source, God, the Most High, the universe itself, etc., be going through so much weird stuff? It's almost like something new is being created or has been created. But in order for people to see it, they have to see what they're doing to not see it. You see how weird the illusion of the whatever is? So if you look at it all from the point of view of a mother towards her child, a child towards its mother, or And I say this carefully because you guys have a very distorted view, a lot of people do, of a father figure. A father missing a child, or a father missing his wife, even a father missing his mother, a mother missing her father, the family unit. Look at your world. Look at your home. Look at your space. Look at your body. Every line or wrinkle or ache or bruise or scar, whatever your story is, or every single, place you put makeup on, every single place you beautify and amplify, every single place you're proud of and you adore, it links directly back to your mom or your dad or your grandma or your grandpa or your children. Everything you love about yourself or you dislike about yourself points to back or front, ancestors or descendants. Now, if the big bad wanted to really screw with things, what's the one thing that he, she, they, it, whatever, your own subconscious or shadow self could poke you with, both to help you, but also to screw you over if you're not ready? Because remember, the dark side is kind of like a double-edged sword, right? And the light side is like a shield and sword. So it's kind of like, the family unit. Separate a kid from its mom. The mom will always go bonkers. Separate a father from the mother and the child. The father will stop having integrity. Make the kids feel like their parents are karmics, and the kids will stop respecting their elders. It's all around you. Raise children without having the affirmation, validation, encouragement from their parents, and they will grow up constantly working for every single penny, dime, and nickel they can get, and then like groveling for it. Be too kind to them and they get entitled. Deny them what they worked for and they'll stop working. Give them something for free without working and they won't work. How do you even begin? Thousands of years later, with this one little thing that's grown into that. You're doing it right now. Right now, what we've been doing, you and I, and the collective of people watching this, with the grace of God, Source and the Great Mother, Mother Earth, Father God, the monad, your own self, we've been adding a little into consciousness. Remember your body? That body has a mom. Do you remember? All that stuff that you think is wrong or right. Let's use the wrong stuff, for example. There's people that say, I don't want to speak these words into creation, so we're just going to kind of diabetes, cancer stuff, things like that. What's the D? The diabetes, not that D, the diabetes D, right? What is that? Sugar, something, lack of, or too much. What's sugar? Sweetness, right? But it's also perceived as a poison. So what are you poisoning yourself with, or what are you denying yourself with in regards to sweetness in life? If you have problems with your feet, you can't walk too much, or you walk too much, or there's bone issues. Let's say there's, maybe there's something going on with the bones, positively or whatever. Then that's your stability, your structure, your Saturnian thing, dealing with your parental side of father, but also mother. What holds you together? Why do bones ache when people get older? Because they miss being held. What's holding them? The flesh. What's the flesh made of? Mostly water. What's water? Emotions. Where did you learn emotions? Your mother. Why do teenage girls and, women in their 20s and stuff, why do some of them get really promiscuous, even men? Because they want to feel loved and they don't know how else to get it. Why do so many young men lose their minds trying to prove themselves to father figures? Because their fathers were raised without being taught how to be a better person in specific ways. And I'm not insulting your parents. I'm saying there's something that was missing, and it's no one's fault. But what we've done with it is distorted, which is not okay. So those people who are looking for parental, paternal kind of approval, right? Like we all seek that. We all seek that dopamine or serotonin from being told we did a good job. And most of the time, it's from a father figure. But that father figure is also your grandfather, your great-grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, and you as well, or whoever as a father, either in your previous life or your next life. So you've seen these things that you don't like, right? The discipline, the routines, the structures, the whatever, but it's like, don't reinvent the wheel. Why don't you just learn to ride it in your own way? It doesn't matter if Grandpa Bob, made money by walking 10 years in the snow to get to his little newspaper shack to sell his newspapers. Right now, you have the internet. You can work from home and money can come easier. You don't need to suffer as much. You just need to get to a different vibratory frequency so that what you're perceiving in reality isn't from people who are telling you from a wounded place what you need to do or not do to make your life work. It's kind of like if my great-great-great-grandfather, which I think was a priest, would try to tell me now what to do to live a life of luxury. Like, what? No, but if he wants to teach me how to pray properly, how to have, rituals and the food he used to eat and what worked, what didn't, and how to be a speaker and stuff, great. But I wouldn't go to someone like that for telling me how to decorate my house, So some of the people we have in our life, we look at them as examples and idols and role models and stuff, but they're not. We look at the way people make money, and they're like, oh, money can't come easily. Money is the root of all evil. Well, no, it's not. No, it's not. Money is everywhere. It's currency. It's like everywhere. People literally have stored farts in a jar and sold them. Like, Grandpa Bob would probably go bonkers with that. Do you comprehend what I'm saying? There's so many layers to this that I don't want you to be stuck on a iceberg, tip of the iceberg level. I want you to go deeper into what I'm saying. Our forefathers and foremothers knew what they were doing for their era and their time. Right now, if we had, for example, the people who used to build the cities 1,000 years ago, attempted to go build or update New York, or like LA or something, they wouldn't. They'd be like, "Where's the saloon? Where's the pub? Like, where can I get my ale? Where's the tavern wench? They wouldn't know. But if you kind of work with that energy and see how it benefited things back then and how, and incorporate that now. For example, we'd have residential city streets where it's like, instead of the entire street being just buildings, there would be, buildings on one side, buildings on the other, and then a supermarket and a playground and a community garden in between. And then, medical places, places to unwind after work, etc., little coffee shops and things. That way, each neighborhood, each community has a ambiance to it, right? Because we take what was the town square and stuff from back then, incorporated to things now, and we'd have more of a community in each place. And that's just one thing. But if we keep trying to do it the way they did, or the way we've been doing it, or the way we think we should do it, or the way we think so-and-so must be done, like, no, there's massive misinterpretation everywhere. Massive. Even in what I've been saying in this video, a lot of you are probably just surface skimming. So please be aware. There are other ways, but you won't see those other ways if you're still dealing with the self-betrayal of denying your mother and father vibrations within you, and the fact that you are a living ancestor. Like, if you cannot connect yourself with your own family tree and stop looking at your parents as problematic, or your children as this, or your body as, obsolete or whatever, then there's no point in anything I say. I may as well sit here with a pound of makeup and, just, I don't even know. I don't even know. It would just be pointless. So, pretty please, it's not compassion, but it's compassion. It's not empathy, but it's empathy. It's not tenderness, but it's tenderness. It's not softness, but it's softness. It's not discipline, but it's discipline. It's not unconditional love, but it's unconditional love. It's not forgive and forget, but it's forgive and gain wisdom. Don't forget. It's not let go of the past and move forward. No. Accept what you are, who you are, and where you've been. Honor it. It's part of your family tree. You're not going to keep cutting those roots. If you keep cutting those roots, the links to your past that have already created pathways for you, what kind of a tree are you going to have? You need your past. It's kind of like strands of hair. If I keep cutting my hair, then my hair has no past. Have you noticed how a lot of men keep cutting their hair real short, but the women keep growing it out? And then we have a thing where it's like the women are too delulu and too irrational, and the men are just, they don't get it. Because the women are holding all that information still in their hair from their past, all those emotions, all that blah, blah, blah. And the men are like, nope, not dealing with it. I feel so fresh and so clean. And then they're like, why don't we get along? Why can't we make sense of it? Well, have you tried the basics? Like having the same length of hair at least? At least grow your hair out more than 12 inches for once in your life. And then look at yourself the way you were before. Grow your hair out to at least where you want to, like, it's at the point where it's driving you crazy to like cut it. And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to cut it. I'm just going to cut it. Don't cut it. That's the demiurgic threshold. And I use the word demiurge loosely. It's the thing that stops you before you're about to succeed.
So when you're at the point and you're like, it's so frustrating, I can't handle it anymore. That's bullshit. You're literally there. You already have your hair. You already have that new level. You're already at the new place. That's why they say don't self-sabotage. Anxiety is usually just excitement. Fear is usually just a jumbled yarn ball of what ifs and coulda, shoulda, wouldas that play in your mind so quickly, that when you get a ping of fear, you're like, oh, nope, nope, nope. No, it's actually just, no, it's not fear. It's all the things you're afraid of that could go certain ways, but they're not. Because if you think that thing can happen, then you don't think God's taking care of you. So you got to be real careful with your words and your actions and the actions you speak without words. So, like, if you're making a choice that, if you really think about it, says you really believe God isn't taking care of you, what those are for you, I don't know. A really stupid example I can give you is like someone, let's say someone thinks they're, God, how do I say this so someone absurd doesn't go out there and do something stupid? Okay, people say, oh, I'm going to eat this ice cream and it's going to make me so fat. You're affirming that. Because if you would just have faith that ice cream is created out of the same stuff that God is made out of, that it's an experience of happiness and joy, and you're choosing to enjoy yourself and feed your inner child and your body with good experiences because ice cream reminds you of your youth or something, then what does the sugar and the ingredients have anything to do with it? If you believe that stuff has an effect on you, you don't believe that God designed a body for you to be protected and loved. On a similar thread of that tapestry part, it's like saying you only have a certain amount of time to live, or a lifespan of this and that, or that if you smoke a cigarette, it takes so and so years off your life. Like, why are you speaking for God? God never said that. God never said you're created to die. God never said you have to grow old and become wrinkly and decrepit and just drop dead. No, God never said any of that. Did he? Did she? Because what I was informed of is that we're eternal, immortal, and these bodies respond to our cells, our thoughts, our emotions, our vibrations, and we are connected to the source field at all times. Jesus Christ said, didn't he, that death is an illusion, that heaven is already here, we just don't see it? Were these things not said already? By so many people that have come long before any of us have come here recently. And it's no one's fault how the knowledge or information was lost. It was done or stolen or hidden or whatever. But right now, you kind of know inside yourself. Because it's a frequency lock, isn't it? It's kind of like the playground from earlier, isn't it? We've been talking about this really intense body, bones, family, paternal, ancestral, karmic type of stuff, life and death and things. But what about the frequency of being at the playground? Remember that? Now, when we're there at the playground again, what does any of this other stuff matter? Do you see what I'm trying to point at for you? You don't have to tell me, because as long as your vibratory state experiences what I'm attempting to show you, that's right in front of you for yourself. That's all the things, Thank you. Because if you can see this, if you can feel it, not just think it, not just logically rationalize this, your brain is a tool. It's like a calculator. It's like you're looking at the calculator saying, "Do you get it?" Like, no, it doesn't. You have to comprehend it fully. And there's only so much I can teeter-totter between worlds for the collective to like pull one side and the other side and bring it here for you. It's exhausting, kind of. Okay? Because on one side, they don't want any of the shared. On the other side, they don't care enough to share it. Because they just think, enlightenment and gnosis, it'll just trigger. What in between they don't realize is that thousands and millions of people suffer daily and cry and shed tears on the soil for stuff that can be solved already. So if you can figure this out and like really feel this and recognize that when you're in a state, in a thing, in a mood, in a vibration, in a fear, in an illusion, remember the playground. Remember that peace you have with your parents, you had when you were a child. Remember the loving embraces. I have a memory that is beautiful of, and I have many of the variations of these, of being in the car with my parents, and I was in the back seat and they were driving, and I'd hold their hands from the back seat, or at least one of their hands, depending on which side I was sitting behind and who was driving. And I had a dream of that a few days ago, or almost 2 weeks ago. And the entire day I kept reminding myself of that moment in the car. And it just made my day so much better. So much better. All the bullshit I kept seeing, I was like, I don't need it. Okay. The message has settled with you guys. I just felt it click for some of you. So if it clicked for some of you, the next 3 days, it's going to click for a lot of you. Also, keep an eye on the Schumann resonance of the planet. Just out of fun, notice how whenever I post a video, the Schumann resonance goes bonkers for a few hours afterwards. And then when I'm not posting, it's kind of just whatever. Notice it, because I'm connected with Gaia. So when I'm telling you these things, not only can I not tell you fully what I see and feel, because it would just kind of probably, it's too much. It's too much data to transfer. But it would cause confusion. And I don't want to do that. And I hope you can see the difference in this video than the other ones, because in this one, I have been making a very, very, very what's the word? Active attempt at blocking out people's energy. The problem is when I do that, this is totally a side note. When I do that, when I'm channeling and pushing out other people's energy, but channeling at the same time, if I tell you what it feels like, some of you are going to be bonkers. Like you'll just run with it into rabbit holes you're not supposed to run in. So I'm not going to tell you what it feels like, but it literally, like, the best way I can explain it to you is if you take a person, like if you take a pendulum and you swing it through the darkness and the light over and over, and then you ask the pendulum how it feels. Like, that's what it's kind of like. Okay? because then I feel the energies of Gaia and Sophia and Christ and Source so much more, and myself. And it's like the human things and then the tapestry. And then there's a point where it's like, if I go any further, then it's connection to everybody else. And then if I'm not careful at that point, then it's like, you've seen the mess that happens. So excuse the length of this video and how many interruptions or pauses I've used up or, inserted. Because not only am I speaking to you through here, from here, in here, but this message has also been relayed in like different layers of reality. Because there's another version somewhere. Remember, there's the entire multiverse. So it's like when I'm telling you some stuff, sometimes I kind of go, wait, where am I in? Where am I? That's why sometimes when I'm speaking to you guys, the messages get so confusing, and it's like one branch, two branches, three branches, then the branches grow branches, and each topic has a topic, and then the topic of the topic has a topic. So I hope this helps you comprehend more of me than the people who attempt to tamper and sabotage and stuff and their energy. Because there's a distinct difference between the variations. And I would like for you to know exactly like a baseline vibration of when you're speaking to me than the rest of them when I'm doing regular card readings and stuff. Because I think some people have a very big misconception of who I am and as a person, like as me sitting here being me day to day. And it's not their fault, really. I haven't really explained what I can do because I haven't comprehended what I can do that deeply. But recently, I've been seeing it more and more, and it makes sense because I keep seeing it from the dark side of you and then the light side of you. It's like I'm like that near-death experience I had and the death experience I had in 2016, 2018, 2021, 2022, 2018. I've died a lot, you guys. A lot. And when God, the Demiurge, Sophia, and Archangel Michael, they were showing me the star maps and the duality and how the world and stuff is supposed to function. And I'm like, why are you showing me all this? Years later, now we kind of are getting closer to why. So you don't expect to comprehend it the way anybody else does, because even I can't explain it to you, and I'm the one that saw it, and I'm trying to explain to you what I've seen. You'll have to experience things for yourselves. That's why it's so important to not pay attention that much to what you're being taught outside of you through like unreputable, untrustworthy sources. Because remember, even the darkness can dress up as the light, and the light can dress up as darkness, and they can just screw each other up. Like, this is the stuff that's been going on is so massive that be careful who you trust. You need your heart space and discernment and God with you to do that. And then even when I say God, people haven't like, they have different gods. When I say God, I'm talking about the monad, the source, the everything in everything. But then some people have I've explained this to you before in one of those 101 videos. You know, the monad, and then the monad brought itself in form. And there's all the aeons and archons. Thank you, Missouri Man. I'm noticing, especially working with Gaia more and more, and this whole mother-father vibe thing, and looking at the planet Venus and attempting to figure out what the fuck has been wrong with Venus all this time. I'm noticing it's about, a lot of it is transmutation. The Earth transmutes things. The other planets, not so much. And I've been trying to figure out, like, why isn't this the same situation in the rest of them? With the rest of the planets. And it's just really the vibe of the child self, the adult self, not recognizing the child self or the adult self, and then that pain from the mother and the father being disconnected from the child, and then the family trees expanding in different ways. It's just, it's a very simple thread. It's like a golden thread. It's like honey on the tapestry. And it always goes back to the mother. Like, it's from the mother, it goes back to the mother, and that, even that has so many different ways it can be interpreted. But it really is like the turning them into something else. It's like what a mother would do. I've noticed in my own behavior how sometimes Henry does these stupidest things where he's like, he just bolts and like jumps into the window and like gets stuck in the window blinds. I'm like, before I would get so just like upset and scared because I think he would hurt himself. And recently I've just been kind of looking at the entirety of all of it, the bonkers of all of it, and I'm like, wait a minute. This is all kind of funny. Oh, no problem, Miss Raymond. I'm glad you're here. I was going to close the video soon because I was like, I think the message is done. But I don't know. I was supposed to pull some cards with the elemental stuff on them. So I'm going to do that just to close this one stream of messages up. I think people really kind of comprehend this whole thing about motherliness and looking at things differently. And what you said is ideal. Instead, recycle them into good, be it through humor or kindness. It's like the frequency lock I was speaking about earlier. Marguerite Porete, the mystic of divine love. Love is divine and I am nothing except love. Kali, the mother of the universe. I release all that does not serve me. It's time to be the truth of who I am. Spooky. Bridget. How funny. The other timeline I was on, Bridget was the goddess of the eternal waters. Here it's the eternal flame. I am an eternal flame, and each day my light grows brighter. How weird, her dress is blue, though. That's another thing. Have any of you heard anything about Andromeda and this place being connected? And there's two Earths, like one in this one and one in Andromeda. I don't know where I've heard this, but it's been in the back of my mind all day. I can't tell if it was a TV show I saw or what. Okay, what's the message on these? Let go what needs to be let go of. Replace it with love. The way you perceive things, the way you react to things. Take a moment and pause, because even a flame takes a moment before it catches fire onto something, right? So before you have that sword attack move, like most Scorpios, it's like the minute someone starts talking, the Scorpio is like, are you going to say something stupid? Like, hold up, no. Okay, anything else from here? The joy permeated mother. I mean, really, look at Missouri Man's comment. I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. Your inner child brought with your mother and your father the joy that was in you. Look, joy permeated mother. I love when God does this. Biblical times are all connected with the pillars of Venus and others for Earth and her sister star are the last to be made anew, so these times are critical. Missouri, oh my God, thank you for the confirmation. The other day I was talking about a story from Shadow Bane, a video game I used to play, and the three sisters, Sadron, which would basically was in the story, she's the goddess of magic, insight, prophecy, elves, the moon, and she's sister to Earth. But in the story, Earth in that story is called Brelia, and their sister is called Voliandra. Voliandra gets burned by the dragon, which later gets worshipped as the father by replacing the actual All-Father, which then the All-Father in that story is seen as the planet Jupiter or Saturn. I can't tell. It's like a really beautiful story written like 40, 50 years ago. And then from it came the Wheel of Time book series, I think, or the Sword of Truth. And Voliandra got burned. Sadron went crazy because she felt the pain of Brelia and Voliandra dying. So that would kind of be like Venus feeling the pain of the Earth and Mars, like Mars losing all that water, Earth going crazy because she lost the moon or something, and then Venus feeling all that pain, and that's why she's gone toxic. The way I keep seeing it, or that it's been like I'm seeing it that way, is that the Earth, Venus, and Mars were in a trinity system, and then something happened. But they were in a trinity system with like Saturn and Jupiter. So it was like Saturn and Jupiter were doing something with their things, and then like Venus and Earth and Mars were there in between, and then something happened and they went the other way. And then that's why the moon was put there, to keep the Earth in balance. Thank you. Yep. So glad you've come around here, Missouri man. So appreciative of you being here and sharing that stuff, because it's just a lovely confirmation. Yamosha, the goddess of all that flows. I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. Oh, total side note. Some of you could have something to do with somebody named Bridget. You could have known that person in their youth, or it's an ancestor of some of yours. I give endlessly because the light is without end. My soul is all I need. I don't know if this is appropriate to say, but some of you have been behaving like this when there's this underneath that. But you've been afraid because you've been like this. Balance it out. I don't know who that's for. Anything else? Sappho the poetess. I love every inch of my body, and I love the women in my life fiercely. I am telling you, the mother, the father, within, around you, the connections. Look. Okay, we're not going down that rabbit hole. This is the other part of what I was supposed to do earlier. From the winds. Look, that fell sideways. Volcanoes, okay? And rock. What this tells me is if you're in a east-west placement on the planet, somewhere with mountains that have trees growing from weird places, maybe places where volcanoes have been dormant, that looks like Arizona, Sedona. Please be aware. What should they do? I asked about air. Why is this coming out? I want you to see. The mother. I mean, how much more do we need to go over this? There's some issue going on across, I'm assuming, the equator, east-west, having to do with people's thoughts and what seeds they've planted, and some unstable foundations. If you can address the mother within or the mother around you and your children, kind of do maybe a Thanksgiving, something for the earth, like the soil, the warmth, maybe create more of a Christmas spirit ambiance in your area. How would you soothe a volcano? Water. What's water in your day-to-day life? Drinking more water, not drinking as many. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, look, I asked the message from the air. So, okay, look, that's an entire city. Look at that. Before I say anything, I want you to tell them, please. Dang it. Bruh, oh my God. Mother, father. Look, mother, father. Just take a minute for all these like synchronicities, okay? And how cute these cards are. Okay, here's your advice and your message if you're living in an area that has dormant volcanoes or your cities seem to be in a state of what the fudge? If you're a spiritual teacher, if you're an energy worker, if you're somebody who has no idea about any of this stuff, please grab a little notebook or pen and paper because I'm being given a message on how to do this so you guys can pass it along, okay? Okay. Look at this. She looks relieved, but everything around that picture looks like it's being destroyed. Look at the sphere. Could be a planet, could be an auric field, whatever. The dome, the pleroma, however you want to look at it. Something, okay, that has to do with your emotional, fiery, outbursty thing that you've pushed down so long that it turned into it turned into something else because of its suppression for so long and its distortion from, you know, lava is liquid, but it's fire and earth. So it's like a discord of emotions, right? That lava, in order for it to become something else, must come out of where it is to become something else. It becomes more terrain afterwards. If you're in that area, bubbles, shield your areas energetically, but the most important thing, go outside somewhere if you can when you're done with this stuff. If you're in an area with this, go outside, sit bare feet, and whatever your method is of using your mind to ask your emotions questions, ask your anger why it's there. With your bare feet on the ground, and you're aware, like a human child, that the mother father wants truth. Otherwise, you're going to get that. Because that is what's being protected in you. So ask your anger inside why it hasn't allowed you to nurture yourself and your environment, because all of that lava energetically is untapped creative energy, untapped creation. It's land that hasn't had seeds planted in it. It's land that is still liquid but full of anger. Why? Because of the thoughts all around the land. What can you do? Go outside, look at the stars, plant your bare feet, your roots onto the ground, and talk to your anger, because that anger is going to strengthen that bark of your tree so that your empress, mother, maiden, crone, your grandmother, your mother, your sister, your feminine energy, your legacy carrier energy, your currency, your flow, your water, can tend to where it needs to. Because remember, way back in the beginning of this, about 7 minutes, 10 minutes afterwards, we started talking about this. The mother, father wound in the child. Here's the results if it's not addressed. Now, if you're not in a place with these things, then it could be some argument. Or you're redecorating your house and you suddenly come up with new creative ideas to redecorate. Or you take all that anger and injustice that's been in the planet. Remember we were talking about that? And when I was looking at that injustice, it came up and showed me that it was like this child being removed from that parent, so-and-so, like that vibe. If you can point yourself in your own location like a star grid around the planet and address that wound, because you can rest assured, really, the bad ones, the dark part of the yin yang is doing something to get that. You could do something to bring that, balance it, right? But not because of this, because you want this. Difference of intent. And that's what they usually look for. Neural network changes, grid changes, energy differentiations. Okay? But you got to be honest with yourself. Everybody's ticked off about something. Everybody. Even me, I've been like 8 of Swords because of something. But if I was there doing that something to myself, I'd know exactly why it's happening, because I'd know the result that's gained from it. But being in that state, it's like, oh no, oh no. That oh no turns into that. When that child isn't allowed to be with that, it grows up like this. You know that cliche saying about if a girl doesn't grow up with a good dad, she becomes like a hoe. It's not like fully inaccurate, but at the same time, if your artistic expression, if your expression of self and your vulnerability and how much you love people and how much you need tenderness in life, if that's suppressed, who do you think deals with it? Okay, what about... Jeez. I feel so hot. What about message from the fire, Miss Gaia? Oh, don't worry. I'm usually channeling with the goddess of wisdom. You're all good, buddy. What did I just ask? From the fire? And look where we get. Plants and fire. And that flipped over. And this child seems here. It's like frozen in a crystal cage. What's the answer to the solutions? Nature, connections, using that fire to create. What about a message from the water? What's the advice? The method, the tool. I know. I'm just kind of like doing it the slow backwards way, just to like walk other people through this. We started with fire. The issue was a suppression of anger, creation, things left unsaid, which prevented the roots from the tree to grow deep. It caused mental confusion in the air around us and what we say to each other, which causes an instability in the foundations and that creative new terrain not being used properly. Then I asked, what about the fire, right? Because it started with air and it gave the fire. Then I asked about fire and it gave fire and plants. Not to destroy the things growing out of the earth, but to use them to create something even more beautiful with your own creation energy. Then we asked about the water, right? What do we get? Back to the air and the wind and the poles melting. The south raining into a deep lake. Okay, and then what was the other thing? Have faith, trust. The earth is giving birth. And what has been the entire message of this video? Take care of your inner child. Help the earth take care of her inner child by taking care of yourself and your body. And then why? How? By going outside, meditating with your bare feet on the ground, looking up at the world and connecting with the trees, and just looking at reality the way you are and the way it is. Hey, Rebecca. And then why? Because it's a message from the mother father regarding your mother wounds and family. An hour and 50 minutes. Oops. Let me spell this way. Let's see what they are. 6 of Wands. Okay. The universe. Successfully completing something and having multiple different aspects come together. Yeah. But Missouri, most of the wicked ones, if they knew what the heck was going on, they wouldn't be wicked. They'd work on clearing that wickedness out. But then there are some who are just, they don't give a flying fuck. Like, those are the ones I consider wicked. The ones who know and still choose to be wicked. Those, yeah. But there's so many who are pretending to be wicked and badass and stuff that are just so lost. Like this. They're like, oh, we're doing the right thing. We're helping. We're doing this and that. But they're really not. Okay, what do we have here? Dang, that's a lot. So we have the Fool. Something new beginning after you take these steps to balance the elements in your neighborhood and yourself. If you heed the clarity and the wisdom shared with you here and follow the advice, you will have a freedom and elevation from the vibratory lock. Remember the playground, the workplace? We talked about that in like the first half an hour. That way, when you bring balance to your emotions and you're manifesting, intending, wishing, praying, balancing with the earth instead of for selfish greed, clarity will come and you will work together with those same three ancestors, Maiden, Mother Crone, Father, Son, Sage, to, oh, this dude again, hold on, bring justice into things. When you do this and you balance your mother, sister, daughter within and around you and in the neighborhood, that's working with source properly. And you can balance energies out that way. Okay? So whatever's going on in the environment, whether you're the light and the dark or the dark and the light, you can bring more balance in by acknowledging where you are and how you feel instead of suppressing it. That way, proper assistance can come to you instead of being kept from you or attracting certain different energies, whether chaotic or assistant, beneficial, from this place or from that place. You see how in between being in a state of need and being in a state of having more than enough and support is basically a youthful way to create and use that energy, or a more wise and mature way to create energy, to create things. That way you can put down what didn't work, what doesn't work, the methods that do or don't work, and you can go forward in a more emotionally aware kind of way. Hold on, the card fell all the way over there. Oh, the Five of Swords. Like that troll fight. Okay. Now, What about the spirit of things? This is the only card in the deck I didn't give a title to. It's the only one, and still every time I see it, it boggles my mind. Half her face is young, half her face is old. Half her body is light, half her body is dark. Half her wings are up, half her wings are down. She has a crown, but it's also a chandelier tied to the ceiling. She has sleeves, but they only go halfway. She has arm cuffs, but they don't cover the entire arm. Her dress starts white, but then it's black. She has a breastplate on, but it doesn't cover her breast. There's an infinity symbol on top, but it's not left to right, it's up and down. So it's not a DNA strand, but it could be, but it's not. This card, ever since like I had that vision and I put in the words and designed this and drew and whatever else, it just boggles my mind. There's another one, like I did this twice. I was like, no, I'm going to print it out again. I'm going to do it all over again. And I kept this one. The other one looks a little different, but we have ascended. So whatever the problem is, don't try to fix the problem from the problem, the void. And again, this is the third time, the towers. Sorry, I'm not doing weird shit. I'm just trying to get the camera focused. So I asked what else from Spirit. It's either this or that, or both. But technically, obviously, it's both. So stop making it this or that. It's both, and what you see is what you want to perceive is what's there. You see it? And if you look at it as if it's all already complete, flaws and everything, like the card from this deck, where is it? The one that says never not broken. There she is. Achilanda, the goddess of never not broken. It says, everything happens for my liberation. I choose to become only more love. So whatever's going on, if you look at it that way, instead of the victim, whatever way, you ascend it, you elevate it. So then when you're at that frequency check with yourself every second of your life, you can be at a place where that isn't this or that. It's not black and white. It's not good or evil. It's life. When you throw it into the void and you say, I don't want to have this or that because it's all, then something has to change, right? The towers from above and below to restructure, because for all you know, all of that is all of that. All is subject to change. Choice is individual, for it is the only thing that is given in this wonderful universe. Time between times. Look. What he said. Okay, now I'm going to pull some other cards just to even oversimplify this. What can you actually physically do right here and right now? Transform the way you see things. They're all wearing different shades of white and black, but really, it's all a shade of light. Underneath that light is all these colors. Let your perception of what you're perceiving the world to be change. That says all one. Star Mother. Oh, there it is. I'm like, what card did I just pull? Missouri Man, you are on point. This card says time. Look. And it's in between. Exactly, Missouri Man. I am working on that myself as well. This card says remembering. Look at that. A mother and child sitting in a snowy forest. The time between the past and the future, maybe even now. It's all one. All one. That's us together. The soul self. If I could only just and show you. High up the earth. I want you to see this card. Look at this. What Missouri Man just said, and what I've been saying. Look at this. Higher realms. Total side note, can we talk about how ridiculously amazing this card deck looks? Excluding that light flashing into the cards, that part. But the way the holographic effect looks, I'm so happy with it. Okay, anything else before I go? Oh my God. This one says brother and sister. And this one says holy. I can't even get the light to not like, look at that. Wait, if I hold them here. Here's the other one that has the text on it, and it's a different reprint of it with different words and different images, different whatever. Good and evil, a choice. This is helping you. I hope it's helping you. Starlight. There's people standing outside my door. Do you hear that? Okay, they're gone. My neighbor, our front doors, like this is my front door, you know, this is the hallway. His front door is like this. So anytime he goes into his apartment, it sounds like someone's coming into my apartment. So it's, I mean, at this point, we may as well be best friends. Oh, this is strange. Magnetism. I've seen this word 3 times today. Ay, 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 ay. You know, sometimes I have memories of different past lives and the things that were done to me and through me. And I can't help but wonder how in each lifetime, with so many different people and so many different experiences, how they have pushed the line of what's good and what's evil so much in other directions that it's kind of just gotten blurred. And looking back at it, it makes sense now. Like, of course it would. It has to get blurred so people can see the difference in what it feels like. And Edwana, I think she was a priestess of Inanna. I am one with my soul, and my soul is the legacy of love. I'm seeing somebody running or walking around neighborhoods, like cussing neighborhoods out. So if I'm seeing that, try to go around your neighborhoods and like bless the neighborhood, speak well of it. Maybe it's kind of like people are doing something and they think no one else is doing it, but then people like me are picking up on it. So if like you're being asked to bless your environment, kind of do it. Kind of do it. I mean, just do it, bless it. Because remember, the environments are part of the planet's part of a being, the being is a consciousness, that consciousness is alive and it has an auric field, and we're all inside her auric field, kind of, sort of. Yeah, me and the earth, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know. It's like she hiccups and I feel it. Dare I dig into this? Why? 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 Okay, pretend I asked you the question you want me to. Oh. The prophetess of the sacred way. My heart is a compass. The path of love is true abundance. All right, everybody, gather up. We got to do this the right way. No, I'm not doing Joan of Arc again this life. Sorry. The Shekinah. The presence of the divine feminine, obviously. At the center of everything there is light, and I am that light. Goodness gracious. And here she is, Miss America. Here, let me show you. Look at that name. See that name? scary, man. It's a very peculiar thing to say. I know. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. That's why I'm kind of weirded out right now. Like, that was a dream I had. How do you know about a dream I had? It's fascinating. But absolutely. When I saw it a long time ago, I saw it as a broken planet in space. And I was in a spaceship and I flew towards the planet and I like burst into water and I just hugged the planet. And I held it together with water. I was like, I'm just gonna hold this thing together until she can hold herself together. So I find it really weird, like odd. But I mean, if I would have, if that was a real thing that happened or is going to happen, like I'm certain people would have known about it. So maybe I'm just. It's ridiculous the amount of synchronicities when I make these readings. Yeah, absolutely. Be mindful what you ask for in these times. Take the message for how it stands and not look into the word for word. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've made videos on this channel and people have just looked at the sentence and not looked at what's behind the sentence or what inspired that sentence or the wisdom those sentences hold. They just kind of look at the thing or the package it's presented in and then they're like, whatever, let's go make money off of it. It's like, no, that's not the point. If we could all just kind of emotionally embrace the planet and recognize like it's a being that has all of its children on it and other beings doing something weird, positively or negatively. And this is the thing I was talking with guides, God, all of them about the other day. The amount of overcomplication of life itself through narratives mankind has manifested throughout history for life to function with. What do I mean? Like, kind of like I'm not talking about mathematics, but I'll use that as an example because my niece, she's in still like first grade, I think, second grade. And the way they're teaching them math is totally different than 2 + 2 is 4. And it's like, why overcomplicate things? Why make you know how some people have been doing that whole Higgs boson search for the God particle or whatever other examples I can give you, or all these methods on how to manifest something. And it's like we've overcomplicated things so much that the simpleness, the simple truth seems so convoluted and unbelievable. It's like me telling you guys, hey, can you guys just go outside, put your feet on the ground, and nurture Mother Earth? You guys are like, what's that going to do? I'm like, just go do it. You'll see what it's going to do after you do it. Yeah, absolutely, Missouri man. It's mind-boggling to me. Absolutely mind-boggling. And then all these different forms of magic they've come up with, all these different forms of technology, all these different forms of lying to each other, all these different forms of whatever. And it's like, then they're like, oh, utopias aren't possible. We can't have peace on earth. Everybody's this or that. And it's like, but it's only that way because you guys are still trying to make that narrative work that it's that way. So you guys keep behaving that way to justify that behavior, to validate it. You know, hey, Mama Lit. You know what I mean? It's like a kid being bratty and arrogant and like constant, like a cat constantly knocking something off a counter. And you're like, why are you doing that? And it's like, because it's fun. But every time they're knocking something over the counter, it's destroying something. And it's like, if you would just stop destroying it and play with it, you'd be fine. What's the problem? Instead of arguing with each other about relationship problems, why don't you just tell your partner flat out how you feel? I spent years
arguing and screaming and yelling and yelling and yelling and complaining. I spent years, decades, trying to figure out why the hell I was so hurt and why blah, blah, blah. Because I wasn't sharing what I felt, because I didn't know what I felt. I couldn't make sense of it. But if it's so easy, why can't you? Because there's so many things. What did I need back then? Looking back at it now, that if I had received it, it would have been fine or would have been better. Tenderness, clarity, and rest and rejuvenation with resources. But not having had those things, I've learned these lessons in a very, very, very interesting way. So when I come to you and I tell you, like, hey, there's a simpler way, even to like plan a city or to build a city, there's easier ways, there's more effective ways. The old way is going to be complicated and angry and scared. The new way is going to be like, but what if, what if, what if? And in the middle, we're kind of just going with the flow. But the flow is like a flow of lava, so we're not really going anywhere. It's weird. The whole point of this is, it's just like, if you guys would just try the simple basics, go back to the simple basics. You know, kind of like those people who are the preppers, who are like waiting for the end of the world so they can start eating their canned mason jar stuff. It's like, that's cool. You guys learned how to do all that. Fantastic. It might come in handy, it might not. But in the meantime, did you guys notice how living in a way where it's like a homestead and you're doing everything from the earth, but having the option of modern amenities, it's actually really beneficial if you incorporate the two. But if there's a split in between due to the semantics or because of the old or the new, it doesn't work, right? Because then we come up with so many reasons in between as to why it can't or it shouldn't or it wouldn't. But if you just kind of go back and do the simple thing, like it might take you 2 to 3 days before it clicks. It's like the simple thing. Maybe tomorrow have your breakfast, like put a little blanket on the floor, have your breakfast sitting on the floor. Next time you take a shower, stand under the water and just talk to the water. It's touching your body, it's cleaning you. Talk to it. Mm-hmm. And the soil we've been planting in, especially the soil I was planting in, I was tearing that stuff up even when it came up. I was like, nope, I don't want that. Nope, I can't have that. Nope, I'm not worthy of that. Nope, I don't even, nope, nope, nope. And it's like, but wait a minute. That builds even more anger and more resentment and more problems, because then it's like time goes by and reality changes and things happen, and then it's like, what we could have had back then, so many decades are gone or whatever, just to teach us the value of what we could have had then. It's just, so I can just go in all different directions with this. Just those of you that don't know, like Missouri knows, okay? Those of you that don't know, please try the basic, simple things. If you're arguing with your partner, just tell that partner what the fuck you want. If you're like manifesting or trying to get a house or a car, just really admit why you want it. If you really don't like somebody, just admit to yourself why. Like, it's not because of a facial feature, it's not because of their behavior, it's not because of anything, whatever. It's because of something within the self. If you're unhappy with your parents or your appearance, notice the wordplay. Maybe ask yourself what you could have done differently in relation with those people. Like years ago, someone told me, oh, if we can't just throw money at it to fix the problem. But in my case back then, if I would have had like 10,000, 5,000 extra dollars, my life would have not been this way at all. Would I have learned the same lessons? Probably, but a different quality of them with different, environments, different neighborhood. The lessons would have been the same.
but the class or the school would have been upgraded. You know what I mean? So money sometimes does solve certain problems, but it also isn't the solution. The thing is, what is it you actually, what's the problem within you, within the environment around you, within the fridge in your apartment? Like if you're feeling unhealthy, what's in your fridge? What are your thoughts? Like right now, let's do a little example. We're gonna 10 seconds. Just pay attention to what words are going on in your head. Okay. Mine was doop 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 doop. Many have seen the new city to help rebuild the way this world should be. You have seen the fountain, the source of eternal life, and the fountain in the Creator's garden. I have. I had a vision of it. You want me to show you? Hold on. This is why I made this deck. Here's one. When I made this one, it was like I could see something off in the distance and I couldn't tell what it was. And I kept trying to describe it and design it over and over, and it kept coming out as different things. But it was something like this. Like that. But where is it? Ugh, this light. It's something like that. Whatever. I did what I could with colored pencils and AI. Missouri man, we have a lot to talk about someday. Like I've seen this place, you guys. So thank you for the for the confirmation and validation. Thank goodness. Missouri man, you might appreciate this one. Oh, focus. There we go. Oh. I knew there was a reason why I didn't write a handbook with this, about why and what I was seeing when I had these visions to make this deck. Thank you for the confirmation. Yeah, when it was about maybe more than 10 years ago. I don't really remember. Time seems weird from where I am right now, trying to figure out time. But I was in a diamond ship, like a light ship, and someone that looked like Yeshua. I'm just going to leave it at that. Pretty sure it was Yeshua. I mean, emotionally it's him, but I don't know what you guys call him here, because he said so many different names. He was telling me to come here and help, like, mother the world. You know, be mothers of the children or something, and help the mother of the children, something like that. Pretty sure he said, go help be mother to the world. Like, it's sometimes when I'm doing this, I feel like Scarlet Witch in the House of M, where she's like defragmenting. It probably was 2012. That was a really strange year, man. The way those stars just swirled, it was like I became the Earth and I was flying through space as the Earth. But I was like the baby, or I was the mother, or they were one. And it was like a parthenogenesis thing. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't really comprehend most of this stuff. This whole lifetime to me has been utterly mind-boggling, and I've had so much of a sense of having wrongdoing done to me and like to stuff around me that it's just like I don't even get it anymore. Like I don't even care. Like there's just so much that it's like whatever at this point. Like I got more important things to be concerned about. Yeah. In 2016, they were attacking me with me and my partner back then. For years, they were attacking us with like satanic, dark, I don't know what the fuck to call it, like dark magic to break us apart, to like do all this weird shit. There were like monks with candles around our house one night just chanting, and I'm like, what the fudge? Call the police, bro. And he's like, I don't see nobody. Okay. Like I've been through some stuff, man. Man. Oh, total triple side note. Let me show you something. I'm gonna let you in on a little part of my private life for just a minute. My own personal life. Because people have called me a shapeshifter so many fucking times that it's driving me bonkers in a good way. But I'm like, oh, okay. Now I see why. In 2012, shit, I don't know how I'm supposed to show this. Let me see if I can do this without showing my friend in the picture. That works. It was a test for many 5 years later, did not end in the next 20. Yeah, I think I've been like, they've been keeping me stuck, or I've been stuck, or I've been doing work in the stuck part of the tapestry all these years since then. Because these issues I've been dealing with, they seem like a temporal loop, which just makes no sense to me. Like why they're still having to be undone, why that part of the tapestry still needs to be functioned or worked with. I don't get it. But anyway, in 2012, this is what I looked like prior to all the attacks and all the hormonal disruptions, energy weapons, and everything else that was done to me, okay? Or done for me. This was me. Oh, sorry. Of course you can't see it properly. That was me. Like, I wore that and I went out to a party. It was 2011. New Year's Eve 2012. It was just turning 2012. In 10, 11 years. Oh my God, how do you know about the staircase? Sir, I have questions. Yeah, there was a giant, no worries. You were shown and placed a staircase, but you had to have built it yourself, the staircase to ascension. Yeah, the one I was shown was inside of a castle, and there was a lion and an old man with a staff, and like a bunch of saints and people, and it was bananas. And then Mother Earth was in the other one. And I walked into where she was in the dining room, but it was all like dusty and messed up. And when I walked in there and she turned around and then the entire place lit up and then we started dancing and then I turned into Mother Earth. I've had so many strange experiences like I don't really talk about because it's just, but you saying that? Like, well, wait, that's what I've been seeing? What the heck? Okay. You know, Missouri man, I'm going to be real honest about this. I really try not to think about my role in all of this. I have a very disassociative kind of issue sometimes where I feel like I'm not involved in any of this. Like, I'm just here in the sidelines, kind of, peeking my head in, being like, boop, here you go, guys. And then I pop back out. Like, I don't even feel like I'm in the time stream of things or anything. But the more I'm looking at it, and it's like the more I'm looking at my own life, it's kind of like, wait a minute. I think I'm more involved in this than I think I am. So who do you think would give such gifts or visions of mother and her garden father made for her? You have no idea how many times I see a silhouette of a man standing in front of me and I just keep looking at it and I'm like, nope, bye, and I run the other way. And the other way that I run, usually in meditations and stuff, I see a woman standing there and she stands there and then she goes with one hand, she puts her hand out, and then with the other hand, she opens a veil. Those are the two I see. The man, when I see him or feel him, usually he's off in the distance and he's very, bruh, let me show you. I drew it. I drew it, dang it. Because it was making me bonkers having to explain all this to people with words. It looks like this when I see it. When I made this card, I saw him as the emanator, and there were beings and thoughts and ideas coming off of him, and they were going into creation. And he was standing somewhere, and he looked like the tear in the universe or something. It was like that. Oh, after I've stopped running from that being, after I had multiple different experiences to where anytime I tried to figure it out with my head, it made me scared and run away. But when I would go towards it, it was like I had to find a feeling of trust deep down there. So it's like I had to look at that feeling of why I wanted to run away and the thoughts of it, and then feel behind it and be like, wait, no, it's actually trustworthy. So I keep seeing them both. So, but every time I see them, it's just such a feeling of, and then boop, hours are gone, like 2.5 hours, like 5 minutes. But every time I've ever prayed to the Father or the Mother, it's the most intense, overwhelmingly, absurdly, massively, undescribably love feeling, and just like being so held and so protected and so forgiven and so loved and so cared for, and so that it's just like, but what if I do this? And it's like, nope, it's still loved. What if I do that? Nope, still loved. What if I push every button? Still loved. Yeah, after a while I sat there and I was like, okay, I stopped running from that thing. From that thing. The reason I say that thing is because in 2014, when me and the previous partner were looking for a house, I saw that silhouette of a man. And that's when I was running from it back then. I thought it was the devil because it was such an intense feeling of like, I'm like, I don't even know what it feels like, what it is, what it was. It was just the house we were going to buy, the house across from it. There was a shadow of a fireplace chimney chute that was pointed at the building from the other side where the sun was shining, like whatever. Yeah, it looked like a silhouette of a man in a trench coat or a pillar or something like that. And I was just looking at it and thinking, oh my God, that's probably the devil. I can feel it. It's alive. It's something. We can't buy this house. We can't buy it. And we didn't. And years later, after we had bought the other house, and I was in there, and I'm like, man, we should have bought that other house. I never told anybody that, because in that other house, I had taken a picture of my partner, and it was a blurry picture. I never even intended to take it. Like my phone just took the picture by itself. And when I looked at it, it looked like Yeshua, like Jesus Christ, walking through the apartment wearing blue and white through that house. And it was as if the shadow I saw outside the house that made me afraid to not get it was his shadow from inside the house pointing me towards it to buy it. We didn't buy that house. We moved to the other house in Lake Geneva, and then all shit hit the fan. All because I couldn't look past that anxiety, fear of something I didn't know that looked really dark. Now, looking back at it, I'm like, of course he would be wearing dark. Of course he would be wearing that color. Of course that's how he would show up. Like in the other dreams, he shows up to me sometimes in a giant lion's head. I had a dream where I was walking through a desert and it was covered in diamonds and sand. And then this lion comes out and he's like, Sophia. And I'm like, ah. And I ran again. Oh, the day I stopped running, like a few years ago. No, a few months ago, especially after I had the top teeth removed. I just sat there and I was so hungry and I was just done. I'm like, I can't do this no more. I'm done. Take me, Lord. Not 5 minutes after I was like just done. It felt like my older brother, a father figure, my grandfather, like sat by my bed and just kind of, he was like, get up. And I was like, oh, damn it. And since then, it's just kind of like, I get it more and more now. It's too simple. You guys got to experience it for yourself. It's just too simple. But yeah, the first time you see that guy, the father, it's like seeing your dad coming home from work and your mom's like, I'm going to tell your dad you're in trouble. And you're like, oh no. But you guys have no idea. Some of you obviously do. But the others, it's like, and I don't know what's my place to say and what isn't, how much to share and what not to share. Yeah, he seems to usually show up with with someone that's like, hey, don't freak out. And I'm like, all right. Like the near-death or when I died and I was in that white hot room and I was sitting there and he showed up again over there. At least I think it was him. All I remember is being in the arms of someone in this like burning white room. And I kept asking him, where's my brother? Where's my brother? And he's like, come on. I'm like, where is he though? He's like, let's go. I'm like, but. And it was so cute. Like he picked me up and then I was just like, I fell asleep in his arms and I woke up in bed and I was like, that was the best sleep I ever had. But apparently I was dead for 3 days. So like in my bed, just gone. People couldn't, like my mom was like, where have you been? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, it's days since I talked to you. I'm like, is it not this next day? I think it was May 3rd, 2019. That's weird. So when people were like, oh, you're shape-shifting, you're doing this and that, and you're doing dark magic, I'm like, bro, I couldn't do dark magic even if I tried. Like he would just whack me outside my head and I say that with utmost respect, but it's like I'm not designed for stuff like that. I don't even know how to, like, this is all my source, mother, father is doing. The simple fact that I've even survived this long through all this stuff. The other picture I showed you, like I've shown you guys other pictures of how much I've been like dead. And my face, my eyes, they don't even look the same anymore. And I've died already and come back to life already multiple times. So it's like that life I had just back in 2012, 2016, 2018, it's like a past life right now. It's a past life. I still get friggin' confused when I'm giving people my legal birth name, which I can't change because no one's driving me to the courthouse. Like, my legal first name is William, or was William. It's like looking at all this stuff. It's like, Jesus, I've been saved and moved so many times. It's absurd. Absolutely. When this whole thing with the dentist happened 3 weeks ago, a few days after my birthday, I had to go to the dentist a week before. It was around the 20th. I went to the dentist for a regular checkup. I didn't even think he was going to do any cavity fillings, but he did cavity fillings. And then he, like, I'm not saying this to get anybody in trouble legally, but I'm fairly certain attempted MURDER happened that day. And while it was happening, I felt it. Something was wrong. Something was really, really wrong. What they were doing did not feel like a cavity filling. I had 5 injections of numbing being put in, and then some sour liquid poured down my throat, and then a bunch of different equipment being used, and pieces of my teeth being broken on purpose back then. He was not being kind to me, the dentist. And in that entire time I was there for like 45 minutes to an hour, after I tasted that sour thing, I felt like everything went white. And I was just standing there, and Jesus and Mary were on either side of me. And I was like, oh my God, did I die again? Like, I couldn't even, like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't think. I couldn't move. It was just all white. And I was like, am I in the white hot room again? Or is the TV screen and the light really bright in front of me? But the light was angled in a different way so he could see inside my mouth. It wasn't in my eye. There was some other light that was shining in my eye. And I was trying to get up and be like, nope, this feels scary. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in that chair. I'm getting up. And I felt like I was standing in the Middle East somewhere in the tropics under palm trees and date trees and warm sands and this beautiful river. And then I just felt like Jesus's hand on my shoulder being like, telling me to wait in my native language. He's like, just wait. And I was like, I can't breathe. What's happening? Why can't I pull breath in? And it was like I felt Mary next to me. And it was like there was water being poured. It was so strange. And I remember the feeling of choking. And then the light that was in front of me that I couldn't see, the whiteness, started looking like it was an orb that was going back and shrinking. And then all these waves of water and colors went all the way back into it. And then it was the reality of me sitting underneath two dentists. And I was like, I need a break. And then like, oh, it's okay, we're done. I was there for like an hour, 45 minutes. To me, I was in the chair, then I was out after those injections. Like my mouth still hurts down here a little bit from the parts they put all those needles in. I've been very, very different since November, like November 20 something and onward. Like everything's just been different. Even my face like feels different. I've noticed like I have to like, consciously move my jaw and my muscles in my face differently because they don't feel like they did a month ago. Man, that thing they poured in my mouth, whatever that was it tasted like, and I don't want to say this because some of those candies are delicious, but it tasted like the weirdest mix of cherry, berry, tart, pure, sour candy everywhere. Like my tongue, when they sprayed it in my mouth, like it was a thing. I heard her do it. It was a thing she ripped, and then it went like a sound, and in my mouth, like on my tongue and my cheek, it started like it felt. I have synesthesia, so excuse me. It felt red, and then it felt purple. So it was like hot, and then it got kind of cold, and then it was just sour, 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 and then I was like, and then I. And the funny thing is, when they pulled the top teeth in January 11th last year, or the year that passed, they had the same taste, the same thing coming. Like I had the same flavor that they poured in there coming out from my gums for at least 3 weeks afterwards. And I kept telling him, I'm like, why is this weird flavor coming out of my gums? Like, what did you do to me? And he's like, nothing. What do you mean? I still don't know what it is. I still have no explanation for it. No one's told me anything about any of it medically or any, like, I don't know what the hell it was. To me, from my experience, it was poison, legit poison. And then God was like, yo. Now it's like, ooh, that's the TLDR version. But what the heck that stuff was, I have no idea. But I learned that day real quick. Like, God will take you to the point of literally dying and coming back. And then God's like, did you die though? Did you die though? Seems to be. And I thank you for the confirmations and stuff and the information. Because you've just reading the stuff has helped me put a lot of sense into what's happened just recently. I had no, man, like, it still boggles my mind just how much my faith has been and my trust has been tested and taken like levels beyond just trusting mankind for God to work through man, but trusting that no matter what mankind does, that God's just gonna like take care of me anyway. I don't understand it. I don't get it. It boggles my mind and it humbles me in a way and terrifies me to think that in the entire cosmos of all reality, like my little troublemaking butt down here, pushing every button since like I've ever known, like little Zoe, let's go push all the buttons. That the universe is like, we love you still though. So it's kind of just been like, okay, well, let me do it better then. Because obviously there's people and beings that have like hope and faith and, they're counting on me for something or they're trusting me with something. And it's like that other version of me, the who I was. It's like I comprehend so much more why that version of me was that way. And this version of me. I don't know how any of this works anymore. It's already man. But what I have learned is just trust God. Literally, the mother and the father, just trust them. Like, run to their skirt and just hang there. Hug their knees, hug their shins like a little child, and don't let go. Oh, I asked, I kicked, I screamed, I begged, I pleaded, I punched walls, I broke staircases. I cussed people out, I threw tantrums, I flipped every rock over. It was just like, nope, nope, nope. But now it's like, okay, I did all that, now what? Oh, now the good stuff. Cool. That works. Yeah, and I was giving a lot of not good stuff. And even then, it was like I couldn't even blame myself for how I was or how I reacted to things, because it's just like there's so much more going on. But looking back at the way I was, it's like the person I was when people were accusing me of being so naggy and angry as a child and always yelling and having tantrums. Like, no one ever noticed, or they did, and they wanted to teach these lessons on a grand scale. But in a human way, nobody ever noticed. Like, I just needed tenderness. And I had no language for that. When I was angry, I needed a hug. When I was, crabby and complaining, I needed a snack. When I was so lonely, I was out being belligerent or promiscuous, I needed some affection and some intimacy from somebody who cared about me. And people didn't really get that. They looked at the behavior, and I didn't get it because I was looking at the feelings and the lack of peace. And now peace to me means a whole different thing. Like, it's astonishing to me how the simplicity of what we can do to better our lives is so lost under lessons we don't need to suffer to learn. But if we suffer and learn them, the lessons mean so much more. They're so much more impactful. But excessive suffering to learn those lessons then becomes evil. So it's like a really fine line between, like, when is it too much and when is it not enough, to where the ego and arrogance and pride can pop back out again afterwards unchecked. But when it's too much, it's like there's no ego, there's no pride, there's no confidence, there's no self-esteem. It's just destroyed. There's no will to live. And then when there's too much, or when it's there and healthy, but it's not nurtured or supported in an environment with resources, with things, then it spins into resentment and pity parties and victimization, whatever else, and accusations of others and why things aren't happening, and drugs and energy weapons and space aliens and ghosts and demons and possessions. And it's like, okay, but what is it that is needed in all of that anyway? Just a little bit of love, peace, security and finances, a nice clean home, a body that's not in pain or uncomfortable, knowing that the family is safe and taken care of and they got what they need. Kind of like having your affairs in order every day. It's like when that's missing, the mind and the emotions get so chaotic. It's bonkers. 3 hours? Sophie, no one's gonna watch this that long, bruh. Missouri, that's so true. That's so true. I had an argument, like I was arguing like a little brat, and I was like, why couldn't you have done this for just been nicer to me earlier? Why couldn't you have this and that? Blah, 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 blah. And then for 2 days after that, I felt like such duty. I was like, I don't want to get up. I don't want to live. I don't even care. I'm just going to get up and I'm going to have a cigarette and coffee and I'll just be sitting in front of YouTube. I don't give a shit. I don't have any friends, blah, blah, blah. And I was just done. I'm like, whatever. I'm done. And I sat there and I prayed that night. And when I was laying in bed, and I'm like, you know what? I saw my cat. I'm like, this cat is witnessing me being so miserable. And it was something inside me felt so sad for a minute. And I'm like, who's feeling sad for me? Like, I've been through all this shit and nobody feels sad for me, right? And then I sat there and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't feel bad for myself either. I've been allowing myself to do this to myself on top of what everybody else has done. And then that was when it was like a cosmic common sense bonk on the head. And I was like, oh, I can see from down here, up there, what I'm doing wrong. And when I'm up there, I can see what I'm doing wrong down here. Okay. So in between, I can adjust it properly. But without him and her, it's kind of like running in circles trying to figure out which way is up and which way is down. And if he would come to any of us when we're not at the lowest, when we're not like just done and like done, like 5 minutes after he would bring help, people would just go back and do the same shit again. I think that's why, especially today, it's been so different. I've been going back and like looking at all this stuff and all these timelines and threads. Yeah. And sometimes it's like when you're looking at that stuff and trying to make sense of it, if you get a feeling of resentment for what happened, don't ignore it, because that stuff is the stuff that goes down into the volcano energy. It's on the same thing as when I was talking earlier about how, I didn't need to go through all that suffering. I could have been taught with love. Yeah, but then there would have been other things that wouldn't be as important to me as they are now. Like if I would have had a car my entire life, I probably wouldn't even appreciate finding a little rock on the floor, or a piece of wood that fell off a tree that I'm walking home from the store that I found. Example being this. I would have never found this had I had a car that day when I went to the grocery store. This. It's a perfect piece of a little tree that's like, boop, and it was right in front of me. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. Thank you. As soon as I picked it up and I said thank you and I took 2 steps forward, there was another piece that was just right there. And I was like, double thank you. Oh, the other thing I'm supposed to tell you. Slow down. When I went to the grocery store the other day, normally I usually run because I'm afraid. And after the dentist thing that happened, I've just been kind of slowly moving because I'm like, what would I even be afraid of? After what happened to me like a few weeks ago, what would I? Nope. So I started walking real slow, enjoying. After about 10 minutes, the back of my head did something weird. Now, I don't know much about neural network science off the top of my head when I'm not channeling, but there's something in the back of the head that usually messes with me when I'm having sleep paralysis or when I used to. It's like right in the back of the head, down there somewhere. And it felt weird, tingly, like someone put their hand behind my head and was just kind of comforting me. And when I was walking, there's a church across from the supermarket. And I was looking at the church, and it was like just time slowed down for a minute, even more, which felt weird. And it was like that hand that was taking care of me was always there. I was just moving so quick that I couldn't feel it. And I was afraid that there's something behind me. Let that sink in for a minute. Those of you who have that fear when you go outside and you're like, oh no, I feel like someone's chasing me. Oh no. Like, slow down. Isn't that better? Aw. I hope that helps clarify some of you who have social anxiety. and agoraphobia. And those of you who sit in your apartments and are afraid of going out and stuff, you guys have no idea how close God is to everybody at all. Some of you do, obviously, but so many don't. And so much fear could be skipped if they just knew. If they could feel it, not even if they just knew, if they could feel it. Now, I'm giving you a heads up. I'm going to close this for real, because I really, really need to go tinkle. Excuse my so mature conversation. And I need to get some water because my tea is like squirrel pea cold right now. It's kind of gross. And it's 11 o'clock. Holy shit. Okay. 3 hours? Missouri man. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so grateful you're here. Thank you. Thank you. You guys, that's what it is. It's like the live chat will be replayed after a few hours of the video uploading. So if you guys haven't been paying attention, whoever is watching this to the chat replay, please watch this when the chat replay is active. Like, this is amazing. Thank you. The pineal gland, your inner mind, energizes ancient connections and feels like a hand in the back of the head. Okay. What is that eye that I keep seeing? It's an actual eye. I don't know if anyone else sees it. It's an actual eyeball, but the iris in the eyeball changes from either a cat, a thing like that, or sometimes it looks like a man, the pillar, or a woman who opens a thing. And then when she opens a thing, I can go into the eye and see behind it. What is that? Because when I'm seeing this, there's a snake too that swirls around and it's made out of rainbows. And I've never told anybody this because I'm like, what is this rainbow snake? And the recently, it's been so clear, I can make out the colors of the rainbow on it, and there's more than 7 colors. So it's just boggling my mind. Like, am I going bananas with this? Am I like jumping dimensions in my brain? Is there a snake in? Like, what's the snake eyes? The Eye of Horus. It's a thing? Like, it's an actual thing? I thought it's just a sigil people draw for protection or something. It's an actual, like a, wow. Okay. Bananas. Bananas, man. Okay, now that pineal gland is what allows fast travel, faster than light. I wonder. I remember having memories of being at certain monuments in the world in ancient times and being sacrificed. And then there being a lot of light. I wonder if I wasn't being sacrificed and it was just something activating that part of the light, because I could never see, I haven't been able to see past those memories of that light. And I've always just thought that was the end of that life. Like, oh, that's when I died in that life. But I don't think so. I need to do some meditation on that. Because usually when I see that in my visions and stuff, I like just kind of back away from it. And I'm like, that's not where I'm supposed to be looking. Because it's like an eye looking right back at me. The day I had that ayahuasca ceremony in 2012, I was standing outside the window the next day after the deer. We had gotten back to my apartment, my parents' apartment back then, and we were just taking a stop there. And I was standing outside, like in my bedroom, looking outside after I had woken up. God, this is so confusing to put in time. We went back to my parents' house. We went to sleep. The next day, I woke up and I was standing on my bed looking out the window, and I can't tell if it was a dream or real life.
because it was blended together still from the ceremony medicine. But reality in front of me, I was in space, and then reality was like a rainbow that was going this way. And then I breathed in, and then the portion of reality I saw was the light blue to the dark blue. But the dark blue went down this way, and the light blue went up that way. And then it zoomed into like in front of me to where this all became light blue, and then it went back out, and the light blue became the sky. And then I was lucid, and I was standing on top of my bed in the bedroom looking out the window. Yeah, it's a very, very like every time I see that eye or that the rainbow serpent or this weird star pattern, it's like a I can't tell what color it is because there's lots of colors I can't recognize. It's it usually feels like tread with respect, tread real carefully, don't think words, don't feel, just have an intent with like so connecting the source. And let me tell you, I saw that light, the eye again today. And during that meditation, it felt like I was just about to freak out. And all I could keep calling was like Isis and Jesus and Mary. And I was like, those were the three words, and God, I kept repeating in my head. And that's when I saw more of these strange rainbow things and these lines going back and forth and that weird goo. And just, ooh, it's a lot. It's a lot. Mm-hmm. Whenever I've seen it, I've noticed something in the pattern. Maybe some of you guys who are like more popular healers or whatever can share this, or I don't know what, I don't know. But it seems like I can usually get to it or at least see that part in meditation when my eyes are closed and I'm constantly looking up, but not constant. Like I keep looking back up. Because usually when I'm meditating, my eyes kind of go down or like I'm looking around at the swirls. But if I keep going back up and looking there, then it's like something happens. I feel like I knew about this stuff before, but I've died and come back so many times I can't remember properly just yet. But it's something around here, and then here. And then something happens around here. And then it's all like here. And when I try to tune into the human collective, earth and nature, it's usually around here that it's like people just have a compression. Oh, that explains that. Okay. Interesting. Wow. Wait, dang it. I just read your comment backwards in time and space. Only higher beings can enjoy this. The creator of the mind, the source of all, of the inner mind, the vessel in the body operates the mind cognitively through two minds. I read that backwards as fudge. Two minds, cognitive mind operates the vessel. The inner mind is from the all source, mind of the creator that only higher beings can enjoy. You can only have one on at a time, unless you have practiced and learned. But be mindful, for you get what you give, and everything comes at a cost. Will exhaust you dramatically. Had I known that, I would not have done so many channeled videos for years. Because looking back at some of the pictures I was doing for daily, like daily pictures of my face,
for Instagram just because I was doing the hormone thing and trying to come back to life and fix my body. Oh man, like there were times where I looked like I was ancient AF, like old, dying, withered away. And I didn't recognize for so long that my body was like being drained with all that energy and all that stuff I was doing. Now in the recent few days, I've noticed it more and more. And it's like, okay, when I'm here, I'm here. Mortal world, 3D, doing things in 3 dimensions, time, space, eating, food, going out, slow down. And yeah. Yeah, pretty much everything that we've like, it's all already been said, but we really do have to go through it to learn it. It's like that dream I had of walking through a maze with a spirit guide and then all the walls closed in on us. And in the dream, I was like, I can't breathe. I'm stuck. I don't know where to go. And she's like, just looked at me weird. But even like looking back at the dream, like there was another path right there. And I could have just gone up, climbed over the maze. But during it happening, like no amount of anybody telling me anything would have gotten me to see anything differently. I was like, I'm stuck, help, help. Oh man. I hope they shift because this whole the way I've been seeing some things previously, I haven't really liked it. The colors have seemed off. Like the chakra systems just seems off. Yeah. I mean, really, I feel like I've been living this day my entire life. I've been sitting in this room in front of that fairy lamp in front of this computer for 43 years, and the rest of it has just been in like little intermissions in between. It's weird. Time just seems like it's irrelevant at this point. The only time I experience time is when people want to make an appointment to go somewhere or to like read for them, or if I have a doctor's appointment and it's like, wait, or when I'm doing these videos and I have to look at the time and date. Other than that, what I look at is where the sun is or where the moon is. And this morning I woke up so early and I couldn't see the sun fly through the windows, and I was like, nope, back to bed. It's not even 6 in the morning yet. And then I overslept because I woke up and I'm like, oh, the sun's on the other side of the window. Overslept. Get up. But clocks, I cannot tolerate that stuff, man. They're useful for some stuff, but whenever I've even like thought about living in having a watch on my hand, it feels like time closing in on me without walls. It's weird. I don't like it. Oy, oy, oy. Dang it, I said I was going to close this video 13 minutes ago. They're just mind-boggling to me. Like the fact that these beings are actual beings, like beings, people, or people, you know what I mean? Like their consciousnesses, they're actually real forces of existence. It's astonishing that so many people claim they believe in that stuff, but the reality of them existing, well, that's what, yeah. I mean, Sophia and what's his name? I don't know his name in the other reality. I know up to Sophia and the top of the pleroma. Other than that, I can't. Like, it's almost as if I've seen it and I don't recognize that I've seen it, or I haven't gotten there yet to see it or been shown it. But I've gotten all the way up to seeing what they call Sophia, and I think they call him Celeste A, and their experiment, and then the planet, which is like their daughter or something, and then inside there's something else, and then the simulation, like what we're experiencing here is the dream of something in 1, 2, 3, and like that's where they are, kind of. Yeah. So each level of the rainbow spectrum, whenever I look through them as timelines, like sideways or upright, like the way I've seen the light blue has been kind of like a sunny blue day on Earth. But when I'm in the purple or when I'm looking at the pink, usually sunsets on Facebook, people post pictures of pink sunsets. When I'm looking at more Venusian vibrations, the pink colors and things. If I'm going into real clarity kind of places, usually people are posting pictures of like silver things in places. Like this simulation gives me feedback of those silvery colors. I don't know. It's just very interesting. The way these things work in this place and how they tie back into the other place. Nobody, apparently. I mean, we've kind of imposed that on ourselves. Even with the facial hair, Keith was saying the other day, like he was confirming when I asked about beard hair and, telling myself to stop growing certain stuff. And I've been looking at my face for the past few days, and I'm like, it's actually kind of working. Like, I had a nice talk with some of my cells in my body, and I'm like, you know what? Just stop. Redirect that energy somewhere else. And I've been doing it like over and over, like not repetitively crazy, just it's weird. It's weird how these things I've thought, like, wait a minute, like, oh, that makes so much sense. The Taurus, the toric field. Interesting. No wonder I was able to do that as a kid. If I had only known, I would have probably caused so much more trouble in my own life for myself. I used to lay in bed when I was a kid and I would be late for school. I'd wake up way after 8:30 or 6:30, whenever they wanted to wake me up. And I would freak out in bed because I knew I'd get yelled at. And I'd sit there and the back of my head would start tingling and burning, and then my body would start shaking, and I'd be so afraid. And then I'd fall asleep, and it felt like I was being sideswiped. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It would feel like I'm being hit by a truck and moved to the side. And then I'd wake up again, and it was before the time I would consider late. Stuff like that. It's just kind of like, I don't even want to teeter-totter on those points of destiny or the horns of that bull or whatever it is. It's just like, I still want to grow a cherry tree. Is that involved in my destiny? If I cross that point? I don't know what any of this is. Really, this is the most like confirmations I've ever seen shown to me anyway. So thank you. So fascinating. The Red Bull. I don't know if you've ever seen The Last Unicorn. It's all in there. A fractal within a fractal within a fractal, which sometimes makes me wonder why the simulation within a simulation in a simulation. It's like the source or mom and dad, they're trying to save something in someone. And it's like they went through all this stuff just to kind of make sure that little piece gets saved. Because I keep thinking about all these realities as if I was a scientist, and I'm like, why would this happen? And it's kind of like making essential oils, the dilution, the essence of the thing. You know how like they say it's a fractal? So it's like if I wanted to save that part of that tapestry, but the rest of it was burned, like there would be, a simulation or a copy or a picture or something, and then a story, and then something else, and then I know you get it, but I'm having a hard time explaining it because I think I'm not supposed to. I'm just grateful for it. Like I'm grateful I even still exist, and I'm still even having a sense of me being me, despite me not looking anything like myself anymore. Thank you, Matsuri, man. I appreciate your presence here. And with that being said, I feel Keith's energy. Keith, I hope you're doing well. If you're here and watching, I hope this helps a lot of you. May the wicked not find their way to this, and may the light and those that need to find this for their happiness and their regretless life. Because there's so much here, so much. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I guess we're going to be. Oh, okay. Yep. Now I see. Okay, so okay. Never mind. Dang it. Sorry, I just like jumped in two different places and timelines at once to see what the heck this was. I'm supposed to help people with this information. That's why it's all in here like this. The confirmations confirmed the things that needed confirming so that I can share what needed to be shared without hesitating on sharing the things accurately. Okay. Goodness gracious, brain. I'm gonna go now. I need water. Oh, Missouri man, I could hang out with you all day and talk about this stuff. I'm not even joking. I love conversations like this. All right, everybody. We're still on the freaking internet. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Okay, I might be back tomorrow, most definitely, especially if I don't do any channeling. If I'm just kind of chilling out and hanging out with you guys like this, it'll be fine. If you guys want me to do any specific kind of card reading, because I'm not really going to be focusing on card readings that much unless asked, let me know. You know, ask. There's a community board. You guys can ask questions. I guess I'll make a post or something, or just respond in a comment here. Be like, hey, can you do a whatever reading for this collective or that, or a question, energy from like a planet you want me to tune into and like read about. Remember, I used to do those moon singer, sun singer videos. Those seem to help a lot of people with their day-to-day life. I don't know how. I guess fractals back and forth. So if you guys want something specific for me to upload, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to do more of these little live streams and we can see where the heck they go. Today, it was just like they were telling me just do a video, read about these, like play with these cards. And I was like, okay, I'll just play with the cards. And here we are 3.5 hours later. This was the best live stream I think I've done in a long time. Thank you, Miss Ari, man. I don't really, I don't know, I don't feel like I screwed anything up today. I don't feel like I pissed anybody off today, hopefully. Maybe. I don't feel tired at all. I want to go just kind of, you know, use the facilities and get some water and maybe a little snack. And then I'll see. I don't really know though. I don't have much else to do, but I do need a smoke break and just because it's so hot in here right now. Like it's so physically hot in here. And I think it's the vibration that's like up. So I kind of need to ground it back down. Oh man, I can't even tell. Like, can you tell how shiny I look? I've been noticing how sometimes the screen looks like it just goes all glowy. Oh, I do want to talk about something. Maybe I'll do this video later on about the rainbow in the aura. Like when I close my eyes and I kind of rub my hands and then I look at my hands with my eyes closed, they look like they would be glowing if I had a black light. Wait. Oh. That's what that looks like to me. When I close my eyes, it looks like if there was a black light on, it would be all glowing like bioluminescence instead of like this. Like when I do this, it feels like there needs to be a light bulb in there. That makes that not dark. Because what I'm seeing when I do this is orbs and colors and swirls and lines. And then there's another thing I see from here. And then there's usually really crystal clear movies. I'll probably do another one tomorrow or a couple of them tomorrow. Right for tonight, I'm not really certain. All I know is, oh yeah, this video for now is done. But yeah, prisms. I guess the body really is like a crystal because they are prisms. I don't know if you guys can see it. Like, I'll try to, because it's real, like it's real easy to do. If you can see it energetically, maybe you can. To me, what it looks like is like a rainbow aura up there. Sometimes it feels like static, you know? You know when you static charge something and it goes zzz, and it pops your finger? That's what it feels like sometimes. Usually it's right around there. It's like that much of a distance away from my hand, and it's a spectrum. And if I focus in on it enough, there's more than one, like more than the rainbow colors. And then weird stuff happens, so I don't deal with it too much because I'm like, oh no, what if I mess something up? Anyway, yeah. Thank you for everything. I'm gonna go. I need a doorman. Jesus. I love you guys. Thank you for all the comments and stuff you guys put in here today. Thank you for visiting Mama Lit and Rebecca and Missouri Man. You are a treasure on the internet, buddy. And also, what else? What else did I need to tell you? Don't you snatch it away from me. Put it back. Oh, something about cake. Oh, and the banana bread. My neighbor gave me banana bread today. Like I opened my front door and there was a bag of banana bread hanging there. Why I'm supposed to tell you this, I don't know. Maybe some of you like should make your own bread, bake bread. Maybe that's something in this simulation that means something in the other simulations. I don't know. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And if you've watched this video for this long, please get up, stretch, drink water, eat something. Be kind to your body. If you want something sweet and you can't have sugar, use a fruit alternative. Call your mother or your grandmother or your female figure you respect. Be nice to them. And remember the little thing. Go outside, bare feet, look up, talk to the world, talk to yourself about your anger. If you can sort that out, a lot of other stuff is going to make sense. I love you. Have a nice day. Have a nice night. There's my little doorman. He says we gotta go. Bye.